much for the introduction and welcome all the panelists. I think we are sitting in between them and the lunch, and he's already indicated to us the timing. We have got about 30 minutes for us. And the topic is pretty hot these days, of course, talking about the role of AI, tech, data, predictive analysis, how it is impacting the role of human resources and people management, of course. These are two things, high touch and high tech. There's always debate going on between this. Now, my view is, let me start with this, that I've got esteemed panelists over here. They will be sharing their views, and I specifically requested them to share case studies and stories, which will be more connecting with the audience, of course. So we'll try to finish it by about 25 minutes, and we'll leave about 5 minutes to ask questions in case you are interested to ask questions or having lunch. Okay. My experience, let me share with you, has been that AI is going to take up very strongly the roles in HR. Like, I come from the healthcare industry. So in the healthcare, there are some roles like X-rays and those things which are already being taken care by AI. AI is detecting the abnormality much faster than the human eye. So some of the roles are in danger, but that doesn't mean that their roles are going to go away. So as I always say, I have mentioned in my book also, Are You a Digital Dinosaur, which became Amazon bestseller, that says that you should not be afraid of AI. AI is not going to take your job. But the person who knows AI and the person who knows ML, they can take your job. So that's something which is very, very relevant. And we have to move away from Excel-based dashboards to AI-based dashboards, which are becoming more relevant. And there are a lot of trends which are happening. Let me ask one by one, ma'am. Let's start with you. What is your view on this?
We do believe that, and I'm personally very excited with the advent of technology, especially in our space, in the people, culture, and human resources function, because I think the goals of all of us is very similar. We want our workforce to be engaged. We want our workforce, to stay with the organization, to feel that they are having a career growth. But for the longest period of time, the tools that we had used, were a little more archaic, and the best that we could do is that instead of an annual survey, we would say, okay, let's do a survey 3 times. Those are the best solutions, we could bring in. With the advent of AI and other technologies, I think we are going certainly beyond in actually checking the pulse of the organization. And over the conversation, maybe I'll share a few examples that we have done in SAP, the organization that I'm representing, where we have actually used technology to get even a real-time pulse on what people are thinking and feeling, and how your interventions can be more real-time around it. So personally, I'm very, very excited about it. You rightly put that AI is not really going to take away jobs. It's just going to help us be a little more efficient, be more productive, get better results, be more effective. I think those are the results that we are certainly expecting. It will certainly bring a shift in the way the workforce is being enabled and skilled. So certainly some of the transactional kind of roles or jobs will cease away, but that's another opportunity for us to reskill our workforce for on better technology. So I'm very, very excited about this.
Thank you very much. How about you, ma'am, please?
Previous panel really touched upon the availability of technology in HR. So, what I would love to do as well, carrying on to Shweta, what you said, is from a perspective of analytics and insights that we are, talking about, I always like to approach it with a perspective of what is the business problem that we are trying to solve, right? And then looking at what is the data that we need to make available for us to gain insights from that. And that I would say the first part is, of course, something that all of us should start anchoring our thinking towards. And the second part is where the hard work starts, right? Because much of our data today is either in different systems, and not for the fault of anybody of us, but because there are different HRMS systems who are solving different problems. We have them, we have selected them differently at different points of time. And that is one of the biggest problems that, let's say, organizations big like ours face, right? So the first thing that we look at is how do we get those sources of data to one point? If we are well and good, of course, some of that requires a lot of investment in technology that we are not able to do from either the partner side or our side. So what we have tried to do, and Lenovo is a technology company, is that we have started creating dashboards and analytics at our end. So we have, HR analytics, I'm sure, is a talk of the town, and we institutionalized this team about 10 years back. Wherein we had a proper HR analytics team that would, look at all the data points, create the insights and the dashboards that are useful for business leaders to take the decisions on, right? And we progressed to the extent that the basics of the metrics, right, from attrition to, let's say, hiring time, etc., we are now using it to see compensation problems. We are using it to see the correlation of learning with business performance. So that is the kind of graduation that at Lenovo we have used to utilize the potential of HR analytics.
Absolutely, very aptly put that you are now realizing the potentiality of the data and the technology. Yes, Ankur, what is your take on this?
Sure, thank you. First thing, I would say I also started my career with GE Healthcare and I was working with the MRI remote engineering team. So it's a pretty common thing which we have. I would start with Richard Branson quote, wherein he said that train your people so well that they can leave, and at the same time, treat them so well that they don't want to leave. Now it brings in both the aspects of it. Now when we are training them, there is an AI now coming in, there's a linear path, now it is becoming a dynamic learning, multiple things which keeps on going. At the same time, sir also mentioned high tech and high touch, which is also one of the tagline for Teleperformance. So we believe serving our people. Now all this data, insights and everything definitely is going to help us. AI is a servant, AI is not a master of us. So human touch will always take place. Data, of course, will come in. We will be able to analyze the things. But at the same time, it's a human interacting with human, right? Supervisor interacting with the employees, bringing their career or taking their career to the next levels. That's how we see that.
Great point, of course. I love the Branson's quote, of course. Before pandemic, we did a project on predictive analytics, especially with respect to attrition. And the organization was a startup from US. And the project, it went for about 6 months. And after the project was done, we correlated the results. Unfortunately, it did not match at all. But today the scenario is different, as Vibhooti mentioned about it. So I would like you to focus particularly from the predictive analytics part of the use of HR tech. How impactfully, or any case study which you have got respect from that perspective? Yes, I was specifically asking to you only.
Sure. And I think, to my mind, and I might not be the subject matter expert in analytics, but what I have seen is getting data together is the most important part. You can do reactive analysis on that, or you can do proactive analysis on that. And of course, I'm taking away the advent of technology, which is going to come in from, AI, which is going to help us do some predictive modeling. At least we have not reached that part yet. I'll be happy to hear if other organizations have. What we are doing as far as predictive analytics is concerned is trying to predict, for example, attrition. All right, how do we do that? We take care of multiple data points across the HR portfolio, wherein tenure, performance, compensation, engagement data, right? These are the 4 main anchors that we use to predict what kind of a retention threat this person is. And then we, act upon it to see that, okay, if this person is a top talent for us, we then make the, actions accordingly, right? So that's the use case of predictive analytics that we are using so far. The other thing, and I represent Total Reward. So what we are also planning to do is how can we predict compensation trends based on what the external organizations are going to be doing versus our own budgets, And also not just this, I mean, this information is sort of available with all the survey consultants that we work with on compensation. What I'm trying to add here is how difficult is talent to hire in certain jobs, right? Now, once we put together these 2 points as per, what is the talent being paid in the market and how difficult it is, that becomes hot jobs according to me, which I need to create a predictive modeling for in order to, not be left behind in terms of, attracting that talent.
I think you reminded me of one of the meetings which we were having with one of the consulting agencies in data. He mentioned that I will get you the talent which is not looking for job. Okay, which is not available on Naukri or which is not available on those. So those are the kind of talent which which would add value to you. So I think predictive modeling is very, very important aspect. I think you'd like to mention about this same thing on.
Yeah, maybe a few, you asked us to put to share a few case studies and real work which is happening using analytics. So maybe I'll quote a few of those. I think Vibhooti rightly covered, how some of the analytics is being used in the field of compensation and, in terms of understanding where the industry is going, what are the skill sets which are important. The other important aspect is the engagement. So maybe a few things that we have done in SAP. So a few years back, we used to realize, and a lot of ask used to come from our employees saying that they need more sick leaves, right? And which was a little bit of a disturbing trend that we were seeing, where employees were saying that, we used to have around 12 days of sick leaves. That in itself is not healthy. When we correlated that data, looking into what our health insurance coverage is, what is the utilization, we were finding a little bit of a gap. So it's not that our employees were falling more sick and hence they wanted more sick leaves, right? And we ran this whole, analytics around it, and where we looked into the trend, we looked into, what is the kind of leaves people are taking, and we realized that it is about those 1 or 2 days. So it's not like, somebody is really falling sick, getting hospitalized more, which was a huge issue for us at that point in time, where we felt maybe the productivity is getting impacted. But we realized that people were using sick leaves to actually be the caretaker for somebody in the family. So, my father is not well, I need to accompany him for a test. My pet needs a doctor checkup, right? Or I need to really go and accompany, my wife who's expecting. So it was not that our employees were falling sick, it was all these caregiving aspects which were coming very, very important. And for the first time, then we introduced something called as a caregiver's, leave, where we are really calling it out, saying that, this is what the need for you, so utilize the right kind of, you are not falling sick, that's not what you need for. So that's one example that I could say. The other example I would say is one of our, flagship programs which we started in India, which we called as Project Yellow Circle, which is on mental wellness, where we encourage our employees actually to come every day. If you visit any of our SAP offices, before you swipe in, you will see that there is an iPad kept with, there are 5 smileys, right? And we encourage our employees to come and click on one of the smileys, be a little for that 30 seconds, be aware about how they are feeling that day. And then if they need help, there is a lot of other interventions that we have provided. But that's the real-time data that, I'm able to see if I want, which really tells me what's the mood like, right? So some of those, it need not be very complicated stuff, is the point that I was trying to drive home. You could use data and analytics for a lot of these aspects which, till about a few years back, we were not even thinking of. But that is giving us concrete data, and all of us are in HR. Today, if I have to ask for more budget to my business leaders, I need to get it backed by some of the data. Otherwise, it doesn't happen, right? So, and I think that's hugely helpful there.
I just reminded of this that, like she mentioned, that we should be very clear with the purpose which we have for using tech. Just for the heck of using a tech, one should not use a tech. So like Moodometer, she mentioned, we can always use tech instead of using all the smiley sheets and other aspects. At the same time, we have got AI-based LXPs now. This is a question coming to you, that LXPs are totally now fully loaded with AI and ML also. So we can always conduct trainings on adaptive learning process kind of thing, right? So Ankur, what do you have to say on this concept of use of technology, particularly, and has the capability Maybe some case studies from your side.
Sure. Before that, I just want to add on one more comment which ma'am mentioned. Now, Moodometer and everything, see, it is all dependent upon the input which the employee is providing. Employee might be feeling low, but they may say, oh, I'm very happy. The data is saying very happy, but the mood is very low. So one source of information will not be able to define the action, because then there is a lot of false positives in which we all know. Managing the global teams, we know that a lot of people fear to even share their authentic feelings. They don't want someone to come back and start chasing, hey, why are you feeling low? Why are you feeling low? You tell us, you tell us. Or the HR will go back to the supervisor, send a report, and say that, okay, you are 5 employees feeling low, go back and talk to them, right? Instead, combining all this together with that human touch, wherein that employee has someone to talk to within the organization, within the team, right? Maybe on a cup of coffee, tea, right? Maybe over the lunch. That really emphasizes. The data in itself will not be able to drive that. It has to be combined with the human intelligence. That's my take on it. Now to answer your question, sir. So we have been using AI-driven learning paths for our team. I'm just giving you an example of the cloud technology COE, cloud COE team which I lead. It is spread across the globe. So the challenge which we have is the multiple nationalities, multiple cultures. People have got different learning paths. The way that Indians think, the people in Colombia think in a very different way. Americans think in a very different way. How do we bring the team together? It's not a linear path. It can't be that, okay, everyone will do the same thing, right? So it is an AI driven. Now, how are we using? We are using LinkedIn trainings. We are using LinkedIn AI paths. What it does is it identifies the strengths of that particular individual, the role which that individual is doing. Now they have spent maybe 6 months into a particular role. They have done certain certifications. AI is now creating those hyper-personalized plans, suggesting that, okay, this is the career path which that individual or an employee can take. Now, the ownership again falls back to the employee, supervisor, or the mentor. We generally assign a mentor in our organization so that someone who is new and is not able to chart through those paths which are unknown to that individual, there is always someone to handhold that person, right? The mentor can help that person. Okay, you want to get into FinOps, please do this. You want to get into DevOps, please do that. You want to create a solution architect plan for yourself. These are the suggestions which are coming up. The person, the individual or the employee is able to see next 12 months plan and also the growth path in terms of the comp and benefit, number one, in terms of the growth which the individual is going to take in terms of the learning, because techie will always say that my learning in technology should improve upon. Third thing, the person will feel that his or her skill is being valued by the organization. They'll be able to move vertically or laterally depending upon the opportunities which are available.
Right, Ankur. In fact, Vibhooti, you like to say something on this, on learning paths?
So we did this too, and in fact, we at Lenovo did this before ChatGPT came in, and we did this like 4 years back. There are solutions in the market that were offering it, and we decided to take that, and I think it was hugely successful. The main target group for us to deploy this LXP was our sales colleagues, and for them this just made a difference in the way that they were learning. So we are still in the process of making that available to all our employees now, but certainly, I mean, great use of technology.
Right. I'd like to share my personal example. We created WOW centers. WOW is Wockhardt orientation workshops. When that people join at various locations, particularly sales team, a huge sales team. So in north, south, east, west, when they join, we wanted to create some kind of WOW for them, red carpet, rollout for them. So we created digitized centers. At the same time, those days were pre-pandemic. Okay, so that was difficult for AI kind of thing. But we still created it, and at the same time, we created a LMS which was different. We call it WGNI. Now, of course, I have enhanced it using AI into that, and it is giving a personalized path to everyone. I am not saying we have gone to the platforms like LinkedIn and other things, because I've done a survey that because there's a lot of wastage which is happening in that. But the our platform is a complete LXP and it creates personalized path, and one can always find out that what are the strength area competencies the person has. I bring out another aspect which is skill inventory. So with this, we are also combining LXP with assessment centers, with which we create skill inventory for each person. And what is the skill inventory of that department for the organization also? So whenever the opportunity comes, through the system will throw out that these are the right persons match for us. So that is a kind of, agile platform where we should be developing it accordingly. And that is something which is coming out. And today with the advent of technology, it is possible. And it takes from your side and experiences which I have reminded you something.
No, I was just, kind of drive one point home, which I think Ankur also alluded. I think even with learning, experiences and the journeys that we are creating, I think across the industry we see a lot, of that happening. And the message that probably it drives is that everything can be, on tech. You really need to be in front of your, laptop, and you would be able to learn everything that you, want to. I just want to bust that myth a little bit, right? And I think it's extremely important to realize that the more the technology comes in the learning space, it is important for us to complement it in a way where people are able to bounce off the learning with others, right? And one of our learning in SAP has been, we have certainly a lot of these learning journeys, but we very deliberately, after every learning program, we put a cohort together where people have an opportunity to come bounce off what they learned, how they applied it, because it's extremely important. You can go through every learning, but if you are not able to apply it in your job or not able to find opportunities to apply, then that learning goes nowhere, right? So we have to remember that with all the technology coming and everything that is happening in the learning space, that face-to-face interaction is not going away anytime soon. And I think that's something that I find many organizations moving away for it and then realizing their mistake and coming back to it. I think that's a path where we should be a little careful about it.
I totally agree with you. In fact, we have recently designed leadership development program, which was 11 days residential program. In today's era, nobody thinks about residential program. That also 11 days. And that is something we of course, made it a hybrid with follow-up sessions through digital means. And I'm also mentoring one platform which is having AI coach kind of thing. But at the same time, I always emphasize, because I am ICF, PCC level coach, I prefer to do face-to-face coaching, not even on Zoom or Teams and other thing. So face-to-face coaching, nobody can replace it. Whatever AI आ जाए, तो जो मर्जी मस्क आ जाए, तो जो ट्रम्प आ जाए, तो nobody can replace face-to-face kind of thing. What is your take on it, Ankur? In fact, your company reminds me of Star Trek, that serial used to come. तो transport कर देते थे ना, telepresence कर देते थे.
Now it is now TP. It is not known as Teleperformance. Now it is known as TP. We have changed our brand because we are now becoming more of a technology organization. I just add on upon to what Shweta mentioned. I think it is, and high tech and high touch. You started off this entire discussion with. I think if we can summarize this entire up as well. High tech and high touch. You cannot replace high touch, and that is where it boils down to everything. Technology will keep on changing. The way technology is changing, it is exponentially. The way humans are learning, it is linear. Technology advances will keep on coming in a way, and a lot of things will keep on coming our way, either through YouTube, through LinkedIn, or through edtech organizations, right? Now, how do we combine all this thing together? In our organization, in my team, what we have done is, if someone has learned a new skill on any other topic, we are actually doing one more thing, which Shweta also touched upon. We ask that individual to come and present it to the rest of the group. So what is happening is, it is not to test his or her technical skill. We know that the person will fumble, but at the same time, their presentation skill is also improving, right? So we are combining 2-3 things together. Their stage fear will go, right? They will be able to talk more. The new people, Proteage batch, which we run, right? We hire some 10-12 people from campus every year. They do that, right? So it is for them, it may be just a technical skill, but as a supervisor, as a leader of the team, we know that we are improving them into 2-3 things. Probably they don't realize now, maybe after 6 months or 9 months, they will start realizing what has happened to them. They will be completely unrecognizable, at least with their family, with their friends, and wherever they are working together.
Absolutely. In fact, you just reminded me while I was traveling here, we are conducting one very senior level leadership program. So I told one of my juniors who's just a management trainee, you can design a invite for them, which which should be relevant. So since we conducted LEAP program, so there was little junior programs, so language was little different. Here she had picked up from ChatGPT, and the language was discipline. In case of any indiscipline, strict action will be taken against you. So these are senior guys. You have to. So they say that nakal ke liye bhi akal chahiye hoti hai. So we have to be using those technologies with little bit of care. Otherwise, machine gun कैसे use करते हैं, खुद को भी मार सकती है, दूसरे को भी मार सकती है accordingly. How about this? We were talking about employee engagement. So how are you using tech? Is any particular example for employee engagement other than that smiley things?
I think a lot of things that we do a lot of sounding boards. We call something called as People Unplugged, where we actually take very, very difficult topics and bring it in front of our employees. We also kind of get feedback from them. We capture that feedback. So a lot of those initiatives are done. But what is really important and where the shift that I see is how employee engagement surveys are being done. And I think for the longest period of time, we are very fortunate in SAP. We acquired a company called Qualtrics, and Qualtrics is really helping us to synthesize a lot of data. But one of the areas where we had still struggled is it's very easy to now pull in your employee engagement survey data into wonderfully looking slides and PowerPoints, and we say leaders don't have to really spend their time on it, they just have to put it. But one area where we were struggling is all the verbatim feedback that comes. Right? Because that is where the whole emotion is. That is what people are really trying to tell you. And that had become a huge struggle. How do you really, if my leader comes and tells me, look into, 20,000, data inputs that have come, for us as a part of the survey, and tell me what are the sentiments that are coming, right? That had become a huge aspect, and I am forever grateful for technology that today I'm able to use it to kind of bring out the trends, also the things that we should be careful by using technology. So we use a lot of generative AI related technology there, and that's certainly going to help. And what really helps is that two things. One is it tells us very specific segments where attention is required, because that was something which we were missing out. The other, it is also telling us how you should frame the questions, because we have also realized, by using some of these technologies,
The prompt.
The prompt is so important in terms of what you are getting. So if earlier the question was, are you happy with your compensation? In India, nobody was going to say, even though they are very, very satisfied. Rather than that, if you change that, would you leave the organization, on that? And this is just one example. There are a lot of areas where we have tried to kind of change, the narrative there to get the right kind of, areas to focus on.
Good. In fact, you just reminded me that recently we conducted a workshop, top to bottom, how to use the right kind of prompts, right? So prompt is also common sense, which is very uncommon. Though it's a kind of ego concept, the right kind of prompt you give, it will give you the answer. You give wrong prompt, you'll get wrong answer. So that is something which is there, which is very, very important. In fact, we are doing across the organization this prompt training, and the recent one is we are doing for the Russia team. Unfortunately, ChatGPT is not available. Incidentally, I'm telling whole group, in case somebody has a Russian trainer for ChatGPT, okay? You can always connect with me.
I just wanted to quote one more thing. Common sense is a very common phenomena which is very uncommon in a common man.
Wow.
So yes, prompt engineering is definitely a common sense, but many times we are not able to put down what we are thinking. We are thinking so many things, but we are not able to write it down. And that's how complex our brain runs.
So we're left with one minute only, maybe quick 15 seconds wish list which you want in the coming 5 years from your side. आपके हाथ में अलादीन का चिराग आ गया है, क्या चाहोगे आप? One item. दिल मांगे मोर, but एक item बताइए.
Okay. From my side, I mean, that's an impromptu question. So the way I see things is my strength lies in the people management. I would definitely like all our employees, all my family, or all my within my network area to be AI empowered, and we exponentially increase our ability to do better, to serve our society, to work better with our organization. Learn these skills, not be afraid, take it head on, learn, become better, and then win the world.
Okay, Vibhooti, how about you?
A little tactical from my side, but that will solve a big problem. I would like platforms to come up which are solving end-to-end HR
Into-end,
things,
integrated
because-
HR kind of thing.
Yeah, because that is where the whole storyline of the data connection and everything will get, unlocked for all of us. And the second thing I wish, with the way that the world is moving towards exponential increase in AI, I hope that we get some checks and balances in where it's actually used ethically and where it's not.
Good, very nice, thank you.
Yeah, I was, just going to say on the biases, of technology. I think we have to be very, very aware about what technology can bring in terms of biases, and that's my wish, that as we, kind of embrace technology. There are two things I would say, but be aware of the biases and make sure that we are doing something proactively. And the second thing is embrace it, but don't copy it.
Yeah.
What works in in one organization may not work in yours. So really try to understand how you're using what kind of analytics for what purpose. I think that's super important.
Okay, I will also tell my wish list. Since it is a wish, it can be anything. I want, I think 50% of the CEOs coming from HR domain.